Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm starting a new chapter on my channel. I'm going to be talking about Canadian immigration processes, how to immigrate to Canada, what is the process exactly, how complicated it is or how simple it is, how fast is it to immigrate to Canada as a pharmacist or a pharmacy technician. I received tons of questions about this, and I apologize I haven't replied until today. I was just trying to gather enough information that I can actually convey to you. And it is not easy to gather that information. I believe many of you who are actually interested in immigrating to Canada, many of you have checked out so many resources on the internet, and so many of them are actually either scammy or biased or not actually true, or maybe old information. So it took me a little bit it took me a little while to actually gather some accurate information that I can actually talk to you about. So I will have a different playlist on my channel for specifically for immigrating to Canada. I know that not a lot of people are interested in that, but for judging by the emails and the text that I got, there's quite a few on my channel that are interested. So I'm gonna have a playlist specifically for those people who are interested in immigrating to Canada, and hopefully I'll cover everything in my playlist. Trust me, you do not need a immigration consultant. I know they charge a lot of money. However, I am not an immigration consultant. So that being said, if you cannot follow the points that I'm going to talk to you about on my channel, I highly recommend that you hire a lawyer or an immigration consultant that are experienced with this process, because you don't want to mess up at any of the points. And I am certainly not going to take your hands and tell you what to do. All I'm going to do is talk to you on my channel, guide you through the process. I'll tell you everything about the process, how to go from one step to another as a pharmacist mainly, and also as a pharmacy technician. And it's on you. You have to go on the website for the Canadian immigration. You have to learn everything on your own. See what take the information I told you and see if it's actually accurate. You have to do your homework basically in order to get things done. But like I said, I'm going to guide you through the process. And starting with today's video, this is the first video in the Canadian immigration series, and I'm going to be talking first about the language requirements to immigrate to Canada. But before I do that, I want to give you a quick information about the easiest way to immigrate to Canada for pharmacists and pharmacy techs. It's basically called the express entry to Canada. Of course, there are many different ways to immigrate to Canada if you qualify for them, and different provinces might have different programs that are only for that province, but the express entry is valid for all provinces. So you can use this way to immigrate to whatever province you want to immigrate to. So express entry basically provides a pathway to permanent residence for skilled workers in Canada or overseas. So if you're a skilled worker, which is what they call our profession as pharmacists or pharmacy technicians, we can apply for the express entry to come to Canada as permanent residents. And after 3 years of being a permanent resident, you get granted the citizenship. Actually, you apply for the citizenship, and you take a test, and then you get granted the citizenship. For potential skilled foreign workers, express entry will result in fast processing times of 6 months or less. Now, this information could be a little bit of a BS. You know what I mean. Yes, The process used to take 6 months, maybe less. However, with the current situation and going through COVID for the last 2 or 3 years, and the delays that IRCC, which is the Immigration, Refugees Canada agency, has been going through, I doubt that you would be accepted within 6 months. However, this is the information on their official website, on the Immigration Canada official website. So I just gathered the information from their website. So I don't know 100% if this is going to happen within 6 months or not, but that's what they say. Now, what is express entry and how does it work? Basically, you first create a profile on the website, on the Immigration Canada website. Apply for express entry. You get put into a pool called the express entry pool. Many people are applying from all over the world. So let's say millions of people are applying every day, I would say, because I don't think it has a specific day that you can apply or not apply. It's not like the American lottery system, which only opens in October, I think. No, it's different in Canada, so you can apply anytime, and then you get put into the pool, and then if you're selected from that pool, you receive an invitation to apply for permanent residence, and then that's when you start your application for permanent residence. How long does this take? I have no idea. I couldn't find that information anywhere, but I mean, since you get put into the pool and then chosen by IRCC to apply, to get invited and apply, I have no idea how long this takes, but the whole process, according to IRCC, takes 6 months or less. So what are the language requirements to apply for immigration? In order to get accepted in the Express Entry program, you must prove your language skills. And there are two different tests that you can go for. I mean, two different languages that you can apply for a test to get tested in. One is English and the other one is French, of course, the two official languages in Canada. And the approved language tests for those two languages are either the CELPIP, which is the Canadian English Language Proficiency Index Program, or IELTS, International English Language Testing System. Those two are for English language testing. And there are two other tests, the TEF, Test d'Évaluation d'Avancée, excuse my French, I don't speak French. And the other one is the TCF Canada, which is Test de Connaissance d'Avancée. And both those tests, you can tell that they test French abilities. You don't have to take all four. You need to pick one and go for that one. So most people go for the IELTS exam. It's more popular than the CELPIP, and most probably if you live in another country, the IELTS exam is the official English testing system in your country. So that it will be easier for you to go for that test, because you'll just test in whatever testing center you have in your country. While the CELPIP is only offered in certain countries, including Canada. So if you live in Canada, you can apply for it in Canada. And yes, some people live in Canada illegally, like on visit visas or whatever, and they want to apply for permanent residence. So that could be a case too. So you pick whatever you like, you pick. I cannot tell you which one of these is easier than the other. Most probably they are the same level of difficulty. So and most people go for the English language test because the majority of people don't speak French, except if you have French as your first or second language where you live, or you studied French all your life, then you might actually want to go for French. What you can do is take one English test and one French test if you actually are competent with both languages, you can take one of this and one of these and see which one you score higher for, because eventually you need to score a certain number of points in order to get like higher in the hierarchy and easily get picked in the immigration pool, in the express entry pool. The different modules that you get tested on are writing, reading, listening, and speaking. And that's for any of the tests that I mentioned. Whether it's English or French, they'll test your abilities in all of these 4 modules. Now, IRCC, or the immigration system in Canada, measures your English or French levels using 2 different benchmarks. For English, they use the Canadian language benchmarks, which is CLB. And for French, they use something else called NCLC. So what do I mean by that? I'm going to explain in the next few slides. Basically, like I said before, this is an example here, how CLB calculated based on my language results. We said that you're going to be tested in speaking, listening, reading, and writing, right? So let's say you're going to go for the IELTS test, and the IELTS test has a scoring system for each of these modules. Say for speaking, they have a scoring system between 0 and 9. 9 is the highest. You're really good. Yeah, that's like your first language, English. So let's say you scored 7 on that scale. And then for the listening, you also scored 7. For the reading, you scored 7. For the writing, you scored 7. All of them have a scoring scale between 0 and 9. So you did 7 in all of them. That will put you at a CLB level of 7. But if you scored 8 on all of them, your CLB level would be 8. If you scored 9 on all of them, your CLB would be 9. Of course, it's not always the case. This is very rare to score the same score in every test. And here it tells you how many points you get if you scored these numbers per ability. So if you score 4 7s, you get 4 points for every ability. That means a total of 28 points on your immigration scoring system or point system. And here you get 5 points per ability. So the higher you score, the higher the points you get for your immigration, towards your immigration. Okay, let's see another example here. This is also IELTS. Let's say you scored 6 in the speaking and 6 to 7, anything between 6 and 7 for the listening, 6 in the reading, and 6 in the writing. That will put you at a CLB 7 too. So that's similar to scoring 4 7s. It could be confusing, but that's how they calculate the CLB. And here you get 4 points per ability too. And if you score down here 6.5, 7.5, 6.5, 6.5, you still get a CLB of 8. Similar to this one here, if you scored 4 8s. And so on. You get the point now. Now, what do I need? What CLB do I need as a pharmacist in order to get accepted in the immigration program or the express entry program? So it depends on your tier. There is something called the NOC, which is the National Occupation Criteria. And when you look up the NOC Canada and you look up pharmacists, you'll find out that we are tier 1. There's tier 1, there's tier 2, and there's tier 3. Our profession is under tier 1. And for tier 1, if you're applying for the express entry, you have to score CLB 7 for English or NCLC 7 for French. So 7 is the minimum CLB you should get in order for your application to get accepted and actually picked up in the pool of the express entry applicants. So if you score less than CLB 7, you can say that you're not going to get accepted in the immigration. There's no way they're going to pick you up, because there are millions of people who are applying with you, and many of them have CLB 7s or higher. So those ones are going to get picked first, of course, from the pool, and you're going to remain for the last, and they won't pick you because you have something that didn't meet their criteria. So CLB 7 is what you should aim for. And in order to get that, you need to score these numbers here, or as I think, it's in the last slide here. So basically, if you want to score highest in language points, you need to score the following minimums in the IELTS exam. And I keep using the IELTS as an example because that's the most popular test, I would assume, in any country that you live at. Speaking 6, listening 6 to 7. Try aim for 7, reading 6, and writing 6. These are the minimum scores you should get. If you get less than that, if you get a 5 or a 5.5 or 5.9, no, you're not going to get accepted. You're not going to meet the CLB criteria. Okay, so practice in order to get these numbers, of course. Yeah, and one more thing I want to say before I close up though. So maybe some of you would ask, what is tier 2 or 3? So if you look up the tier 2 occupations, you find that they are occupations that require a college diploma or apprenticeship of 2 or more years. Some supervisory occupations. Examples are computer network, web technicians. So those are tier 2. Tier 3 is something else. So don't worry about these because you're not tier 2 or 3, so you're not going to be chosen for a CLB 5, for example. If you're a pharmacist and applying as a pharmacist, then you have to aim for a CLB 7 minimum. That's one thing. And the last thing I want to close up with this video is that in the immigration application, if let's say you choose IELTS, and if you go to apply for the IELTS exam, you'll find two different IELTS exam. One of them is the general IELTS and the other one is the academic IELTS. So for the immigration system, you can go for the general IELTS. However, in the future, when you apply for the pharmacist PEBC tests, or to apply to take the PEBC tests, they will ask you to provide an IELTS results from an academic IELTS exam. I don't know if things changed or not. This is the only information I could find on the internet. I'm going to have to dig further about that. But that means, if that's true, that means you have to take the IELTS twice. The first time you have to do a general, and the second time you have to do an academic. So my advice to you is to communicate with Immigration Canada and the Board of Pharmacy, the PEBC, the Pharmacy Examining Board of Canada, and ask if you can do one exam that would work for both, because that's a waste of money. Each exam costs a lot of money and also preparation, and the academic IELTS is much more difficult than the general IELTS, because it tests your academic abilities. So especially in speaking, in reading, you'll find more difficult topics that are brought up in the IELTS. So communicate with the Pharmacy Examining Board of Canada, email them, and email the IRCC people and see what would they tell you. If there's no way around it, then unfortunately you're going to have to do the IELTS exam twice at different times, of course, but you need to at least psychologically prepare for that, because it's two different exams. That's all I have for today. I hope this information helped a few of you. There will be many videos about immigration process. Just make sure to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so that you get notified of my future videos. I'm sure the videos will help you with the process and understand the process more and more, because it is very complicated. And I know it is complicated. You guys told me, and I really know it's complicated. So hopefully we'll work it up together. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.